Fine. Now, what we'll do is we'll look at the, for those who have not done, right? If you have done any questions, yes, or even if you have not done any questions here. And otherwise, yes, we can read the exercise and let's see. And just go through the exercise and let's check all the things. Okay. And so define a class called account, right? And every account has account number, name, and balance. Okay, fine. So that part, yeah. If you want, yes, we can do this. So we may just go like this, right? We can say, okay, let's have a class. And so define a class account. Okay, so we create like this. Now, okay, there are a few conventions which you will see how they have to be followed. Okay, yeah. And what are the members which are to be there? Every account has account number, name, and balance. The type for account number and balance is long. Okay, so we'll just say, okay, long, and the first one is account number. Okay. We have second one is a string for the name. Third is for the balance. Okay, so making, okay, so every account has account number, name, balance. So that is nothing but putting them as instance variables. Okay, fine. So instance variable part, fine, defining a class. Okay, and every account has all these three things. Yeah, what's the next requirement? Define a constructor with 3 parameters. Okay, so let's define a constructor with 3 parameters. So fine. Constructor is written with fine, name of the class. Okay, and then okay, we can take those 3 parameters, string for the name, long for the, okay, so yeah, you can say this is the opening balance. And so initially when you are creating, you're only giving what is known as the opening balance. It's actually up to us to give variable name. It's a name of a parameter, right? So it's up to you to decide how you give the name. Okay, yeah. So what do we do in the constructor? Initialize the instance variables. Okay. Okay, so that's the first part, right? Constructor. Then let's read on what is it. Okay. Okay, method. So it says method should be, there should be a deposit which takes input as amount to be deposited and does not return anything. Fine. So it says does not return anything. It would mean the return type is void. And we have the okay, so we have the method return type. Why name of the method is deposit, and parameter will be, what's the type for the parameter? Amount should be long because that's what the balance is. Okay. This dot balance, yeah, what should be done? And there's nothing more, right? No system out is required here. Okay. And it's not about, it's just, okay, you said deposit, you give me the value, I've made the changes. If anything is to be done, it's to be done by the user of this class. If he wants to print, yes, he can print what is the balance now. Okay, fine. Then what's the next one? A withdraw method, return type is Boolean. Right? Yeah. Okay, so what do we do here? Need a check if is less than the amount. Okay, in that case, okay, otherwise, and okay, return true. Okay, fine. Yeah, what's the next method? Method for the three instance variables, okay, to return their values. And that's what I think let's check this. Yeah. Add methods for getting the values of instance variables. Okay. And then yes, we'll have to define a class called test account. So add the methods like this. So the three types are long. So method name, yeah, you can follow a convention. There are two different conventions. Someone says, okay, we use the same thing as the field name. So we can say, someone says, okay, let's have a method called account number. Okay, and no parameters needed. So that's why that's one convention. Or someone says, okay, let's use a word get. Okay, get account number. Fine. So follow any of those conventions. Okay, and then and this is simple, right? Return this dot account number. Okay, similarly, we'll have the one for the name. Okay, long. And so this is about getting the instance variables. Okay, fine. And next thing was, yes, you can have a class called test account. Okay. So you may have a class called test account. Oh, sorry. This was only a place where we will have a main method. Fine, and then yeah, create object of account. Okay, so create object of account and invoke the methods. So declare variables, and it's up to us, whatever so there's no fixed way how you would like to write this. Okay, and so in this, yes, testing out. So first calling the constructor and check whether constructor works, is equal to new account, some account number, okay, name, some balance, and use underscores to make it readable. Okay, fine. Then okay, AC1 dot deposit. Yeah, you want to test the deposit method, or okay, what would you like to do? Maybe I've created the account and I might like to print the whether it has been created or not, right? So I'll say okay, system dot out dot println. Yeah, AC1 dot okay account colon plus maybe you want to give the account number. First thing is account number. This dot plus comma space, okay, plus yeah this dot name, okay, plus okay, keep comma between them, and then this dot balance. So just displaying all the fields, and we are displaying all the fields here. Oh, is it this? Do we have this? This is in the main method. It's a static method, right? So there's no question of this. It's on the account which we have created. Yeah. Okay. So it's not this here. Okay. Fine. Then AC1 dot deposit. Okay. So okay. Then again maybe put this kind of a statement after depositing what has happened. Okay. Fine. Next would be, let's try the withdraw method. Okay. So yeah. And similarly again print the new state, or you could take it into a boolean variable, and then depending on whether it is returning true or false, and you may display something different. Okay, so what you might do here is, we'll say okay fine, okay, let's first change this part. Okay, here what we could do is, this is the returning boolean. Yes. Okay. If, and we can put it in a if and okay, say we're more interested in whether it has been true or false, right? So more in terms of false. You can say, if it was not possible for me to do this, okay, then let's have an additional method message, okay, and what will be that message? Okay, so insufficient balance. Okay, okay, so we give a message like this, and then we still continue here, right? Maybe this should be saying after trying to withdraw. Okay, so in any case, we are giving all the details of the account. Okay, so this is just one sample flow how you might like to test. Okay, you can try other ways also, right? So you can try where it should be returning false and see that the message comes. Okay, this figure you can go and change and then test again. Okay, right, so yeah, so let's save this. Yeah. Okay, so here we save it as rectangle.java. Oh, it's sorry, it's account.java. We can compile and run the code. Okay, so fine, this compiles and then run. This will be test account. Okay, and so this is working. And the first part of the exercise. Okay. A few things about the coding conventions thing, which I think you understand one thing here. Uh, One rule is related to the identifiers which we write. So what are the various identifiers you may have? Names of the class, okay, or other type name. Fine, it is any of those five things. Okay, so the what is the convention here? Start with a capital letter. Okay, if there are multiple words, fine, start each word with a capital. Okay, and keep that lowercase thing otherwise. Okay. Fine, we had done that. Hello world. Oh, H and W are capital. Two words, okay. H and W is capital. Right. So that's one thing which is about any type, right? This is related to type names. Okay. What about the variables which we have? Any variable. What is the convention? Start with lowercase. Okay, start with lowercase. And if you have multiple words like account number, N is capital. Okay, fine. In C language, we used to use underscores many times, right? We do have a case for underscore usage also. Okay, so this is for any kind of variable if we have.
So the mostly used for in the camel case.
Camel case, yes. Camel case is for
First capital.
first capital. So that is used for type names. Okay. So class, interface, enum, annotation, record, their names will be. Okay. Fine. Then what other kind of things can be there? Method names. Fine. There again follow the same convention as used for variables. That is start with a lowercase. Okay. It's a mixed case. Okay. Mixed case in the sense proper case you can say, but it starts with lower or uppercase. That's the only difference. When type names start with uppercase, when other identifiers start with lowercase, we still have another kind of an identifier. We have variables which we declare to be constants. Okay, we'll see how such variables can be declared. But if we have any constants, okay, then use all capital letters. For constants, fine, a variable which cannot be assigned, it has been assigned a value once because it's a constant, right? And so if we have a constant, we should be using all capital letters. If there are multiple words, use underscore to separate them. Okay, so fine, that's about the identifiers. Okay. Also, another thing which you can see here is, okay, follow this convention of Java convention and C convention is slightly different about the braces. When you have a block, okay, Java convention is to end the block in the previous line, okay, and indent it with the start of the whatever that is, right? So see here, yeah, so the class starts fine, which is at 2. Yeah, when it ends, it would be in the same column. Okay, fine, but the starting will be in the end of the first line. When this is the Java style of coding. Okay, fine. Another thing, if you observed, is there is a if statement, right? This if statement has there's a single statement inside it. Right? It wasn't necessary to put a block, but we always use a block. Okay, for if and when you write a loop, if there's only a single statement, yeah, from language point of view, it's not mandatory, but the convention is always use block for your for, if, while, do while, all of them. And in all cases, use a block, right? Yeah. Huh? Huh. So this block statement, it's a okay. It's like this over here. This is valid. Okay, and this is valid. Okay? So if statement, the body has only one. It has, if this, then return. Fine. Otherwise, yes, you are anyway falling through. And it would have returned and it would have fallen through. So this is valid code from language point of view. Java language, yes, this is acceptable. It's in C or Java, yeah. If, for, they have just one statement, so then it's fine. You don't need the braces. Okay, but even in such cases, always use braces. That's the idea. Okay, always use the braces. Put them in a block. Even if it's a one statement. If there are multiple statements, we have to put a block. Okay. Okay. Also, another thing which it also actually many of these conventions. What are the coding conventions to be followed? Many of the things will depend on the place where you are working. They all maintain their coding standards. They will have their own requirements about what is a convention to be followed. Okay, but one good convention is to use this for all instance variables. Fine. See, we understand it can because balance is not a local variable here. And even if I just said balance, it would have meant this dot balance. When we know that, so still we always use this dot balance. This makes it clear, wherever we are writing it. It might be a huge method and we are writing some code somewhere. So the reader of that method immediately realizes it's about an instance variable and may not have to search, oh, that's a local variable or an instance variable. Fine? Which one? Get. Huh. Okay, we have these methods which are about returning the value as an instance variable. Okay. So account has account number, name, and balance. Once the object is created, what is the usage? How okay, we haven't used this one, right? Still, okay. Let's do this, right? Let's not write AC1 dot account number. It's not a good idea, basically. And good, you pointed out. Okay, we should have written it as get account number. Okay, and this will be written as get name, and this would be written as get balance. Okay. Right. And many times before, another thing you will observe is wherever, and even for output purpose anyway, right? After a comma, we normally leave a space. Okay. See, following the comma, leave one space. In our constructor also, when we had multiple parameters, yeah. And so the convention is, yes, put one space following the comma. Okay. And so where we have multiple arguments, yes, that way. And most of the time, even when you give some outputs, yeah, it's always good to put that space here. Okay, I think we changed here. Even before and after an operator, okay. I think, yeah, there's some problem here. Plus. Oh, yeah, it was this one. This double quotes is for ending here. Okay, so we are just replacing wherever we were giving output. It's actually all the three places. What is being tried out is, oh, we are giving the information about the account object, AC1. In this case, it's AC1. Okay, fine. But each time you have to write, you're saying, oh, we have a repetition like this everywhere, right? Again and again. So if you find some repetition, fine. Then we can try to find a better way of doing it. Okay. So any suggestions? What should be the change which you can improve on this? A method like display. Okay. Fine. So we can add a method called display. Okay. And it's not in the exercise, but yeah, since we are finding, let's add a method called display. So yeah, what will the display method do? So let's make that change here. Okay, adding another method. Details. Okay, and that would be what? Fine, we have a return type void. Okay, method is display, and no parameters needed, right? And system.out.println, that AC1 now changes to fine. So on an account object, if someone says display, oh, this is how it can be done, right? Then what's the change? Here, what's the change? Okay. So now we don't use like this. Instead, we can now call AC1.display. If it is AC2, yes, AC2.display. And account has given us a method where it can display its detail. Fine, clear? Okay. Fine. Also, yeah, clear about the conventions. So follow these conventions whenever you write your code. Okay. Yeah. So now we can proceed to the part 2. Yeah. What was the requirement in part 2? And we would like to have automatic generation of account number. Okay, account number, if someone doesn't give, okay, then also it should work. Okay, yeah. So what's the change? Yeah, what is the change? How will you be able to manage a sequence number? How to manage a sequence number? You will need static variable, right? Okay, fine. So we'll need a static variable to remember what was the last account number I was saying. So yeah, add a static variable. Okay, again, from conventions point of view, static are normally specified at the beginning. Okay. Static variable, if any, put it in the beginning. Okay. Type will be long, yeah, okay, because that's the type of the account number. And give the variable name, maybe we'll say last account number. Okay, we can have some initial number, right, which we can use as okay, maybe have it a 4-digit number initially. And yeah, so what's the change? Oh, we need a constructor where, so you can create an account object without giving the account number. Okay. Yeah, and what do we do here? Call the other constructor, and we have not removed the other constructor. Okay, you can call the other constructor and say, and so you can say plus plus last account number. Okay, so then it will start from 1001. Okay, it will first increment, then use it here. Okay, and then we can say, okay, name and the opening balance. Okay, so this is what can be done. And so if you keep it later, sorry, fine. So if you push it at the end, okay, then it would start from 1000 itself. It will use the value, existing value, and then increment. Fine. So what is the idea of the two constructors? This is the constructor which you may probably be following more often. Okay, so in that case, yes, it's giving us account number automatically in a sequence. Right? The earlier constructor is there so that if someone wants to create account with a specific account number, that's also possible. Okay, so you can give account number if you want, right? So if you give account number, yes, we'll create account with that account number. Or if you don't give account number, yes, we have a mechanism to create a sequence of account numbers. Okay, and there's nothing like whether we are trying to avoid duplicate account number or not. So currently, fine, we are not looking at that aspect. Okay. Fine. Okay. So, so the exercise part, and this is what the exercise was.
In the methods, so what are the difference between if you use the get and if you don't use the get?
No, there's no difference. It's just whatever method name you decide, that's what is going to be used. So it's some conventions. People will follow a convention. More conventionally, yes, people say getter, setters. So get method to get the value, set method to update a value, right? In an instance variable. So yes, very common. That's a very common thing. But there are many places where they prefer using method by the same name as the variable name. Okay, fine. And yeah, all of you have gone through the rectangle class also. Fine, going through the rectangle class. And this is the place where all kinds of members we have used. Okay, except for the nested types. Fine, we have been able to use fine instance variables, class variable, and we have been using constructors. Overloading was done. Method overloading was done. And we have the static block, or we call the class initializer block. We have a normal block also, right? Simple initializer block. We call it as just a initializer block, fine, which is nothing but becomes part of the constructor. So any questions on this also? Yeah? Rectangle class, and this was done last. All of you have gone through this. You have got this, right? This code. GitLab access. Anyone has problems with that? Okay, fine. See, there is a lot of word about that. Okay, when we define a class, like when we defined a rectangle class, many times it may be a requirement. It's a better idea. It's considered as better if we have immutability for the objects of a class. So when I say the objects of class are immutable, what does it mean? Immutable, the word immutable, what does the word immutable show, tell you? Yeah? No? No. Immutable means you create the object, but once the object is created, we say the state of the object cannot be changed. Okay, what is considered as the state of an object? What is considered as the state of an object? State of an object is defined by the instance variables it has. Okay, it's just made up of all the instance variables. So rectangle, what's the state? Oh, it's defined from length and width. Okay, and so for rectangle, yes, we understand length and width, they'll specify the state of the object. Okay, so yes, let's look at another aspect which is related to rectangle being defined in a different manner. Okay, slightly different. uh, See, Java has progressed slowly, right? We understand those various types, 5 things: class, interface, enum, annotation, and also record, right? Okay, so record is a special requirement. If you have a specific kind of a requirement, yes, we can very easily be using record. It's more for classes whose objects are immutable. If you find that your class objects are going to be immutable, you may go for record. Fine. So just keep in mind, yes, rectangle, length and width only, right? Once a rectangle is created, we don't want to allow change of dimensions to be there. You can always create a new rectangle with a different dimensions. Fine. So if you want to work in that manner, yes, rectangle becomes a good candidate for defining a record. Fine. So we'll look at it later, not now. Fine, because yes, before that we need to also understand about inheritance. And so once we finish inheritance, we'll be updating the rectangle to use a record. Fine. So we may be defining a record very soon. Okay. Fine. Yeah. So any questions now on the one is on this code for the account class, yeah, and other is related to uh, rectangle class, account class, 2 things. Right? Fine. Another thing, like we have methods where return type is void. Okay, we have methods where return type is given as void. Many times, uh, you'll come across some API classes where the return type void is avoided. Okay, what they will do is they'll say, okay, instead of saying void, okay, or even the display method, for example, you're saying void, right? So instead of void, they'll put the return type as same as the class name. So in account, any method which you were normally writing as return type void, you could say, okay, let me have return type as account. And the advantage, I'll tell you why this kind of thing is used in some of the classes. Not all classes do this, but yes, you'll come across this. And the reason for that is something like this. So suppose I make this as return type account. Okay, how will I return an account object here? What do I return here? which is the account object I can be returning from here. And just say return this. Okay, fine. Okay, even you could do it with the display also, but anyway, let's see the change which I can make with because of saying this. Okay, so I've done a deposit, right? I can write like this. So for a method where the return type normally would have been void, if I've made it return the account object, I can do multiple operations, and I can put a sequence of operations in one line where all of those operations were return type void in earlier case, but now we have made it to return the same object. Then so they return back the same object, so that yes, we can just have multiple method invocation in the same line. Okay, so we're saying okay, deposit and then display it, right? Okay, fine. Want to see this working? Okay, let's check this. It compiled. Let's run the code. Yeah, it's working. And after depositing 10,000 and yeah, acha, oh, we have printed it again. So that's the we didn't remove the next display, okay, but we just put in the same line. So that was the before that after depositing. So that's coming from the two methods invoked in one line, right? In one statement. Okay, so it's like if I'm putting a sequence of method invocations, right? Multiple method invocations in one statement. That would be possible, yeah. So you can assist in that by just okay avoiding a return type of void in your class definition and just putting a return this, okay, to return that same object. Okay, fine. So any questions? Otherwise, we move to the next topic. Okay, one more thing. Whatever the code which we have done, right? You should have fine. You should at least compile and run on your own machine also. Fine, it's not just sufficient that I show it here and you're just seeing it. Okay, fine. Or if you need to try out. Okay, and if I'm giving exercise, it needs to be, and you need to try it out first. Okay, and so this time it was fine, but next time onwards, fine, all exercises you should be completing it first. Yeah.
डिस्प्ले मेथड में डिस्क ऑब्जेक्ट इस
हाँ
वो ऑब्जेक्ट अकाउंट का ऑब्जेक्ट होना चाहिए
हाँ
मेथड में कुछ ऐसा फंक्शनलिटी ज्यादा है
हाँ किसमें this you are saying हाँ so in this we are talking about the class definition of account where we have written the method called display. So yeah, here's the display method. You will this dot get account number, right? Display method is called on object AC1 पे call किया. It is nothing but a receiving parameter. What is this? Receiving parameter. That means this method is not invoked without object of account. So whichever object on which the account display method has been invoked, that's an object of account. So that is the account which is this. AC1 पे when you are invoking on AC1, then It's that object, AC1. So when AC1 dot display, how is this display method called? See, one part is account definition. Second part is the program. And that's not a program. Don't look at it in sequence, step by step. Okay. Right. So second part, right? So this is the user of the methods. So the one who is using the method will use with an object only, and it's not used without object. So that object is this. Okay, so any method here, you can see, oh, they all are using this, right? All of the methods here, except for a static method, will use this. And so, yeah, this dot balance, everywhere we have used, this should have been this dot balance. And good convention to just say this dot balance. Okay. Yeah. And we see here, I could have just said account number equal to ACNO, but follow this dot variable name, because this is used by someone saying new when he allocates new, and this is what is to be done on that object. So object of account is always available for everything which you are writing here, except for if you have written a static method. Okay, then we don't have a this. Okay. And here, okay. Okay. And this is static, so we are not having this, right? Static method. Okay.